I'm going to talk you through 3 of the most common things that come up time and time again for my clients when they want to stop overeating every time they try and lose body weight. And so the first point is people are typically not eating enough food. So if you're not eating enough food, it's likely that you've pushed away that sensation of hunger so much that when it comes back as a ravenous feeling, it comes back with a bang. And the drive to eat might be insatiable at this point. And if you combine that with high stress, maybe poor planning, and you reach for something sweet and delicious in a given moment, that can feel uncontrollable. But it's your body's natural response to deprivation and imbalance. You've taken something really, really sweet and delicious and moreish at a time where you're deprived and hungry and stressed and sad and anxious and afraid. And it's like this perfect cocktail for overeating. And so if you're going to try and manage your body weight through behavior change, the paradox is you have to eat enough. I've seen so many clients try and starve themselves. They might have a salad or something very low calorie and high volume for lunch. And then they're rummaging through the kitchen 20 minutes later thinking, what's wrong with me? I ate. They didn't get that sensation of fullness, that nourishment, I would say. Because if you look at fullness, if you drink 2 liters of water right now, your stomach will be full, but you're not nourished. You don't have that satiation feeling. But if you have a deeply satisfying meal full of proteins, fats, plus carbs, that can get you through for 3 to 4 hours until the next meal. And I've had people tell me who have been doing their best for 10, 20 years, wow, paying attention to the composition in what I'm eating is game changing. I finally feel full. This is what you're talking about. The second reason is that you have a story in your mind about what's going to happen. I was recently reading Darren Brown's book, Happy, and he talked about an experiment in it where they divided a classroom into 2 sets of students. Unbeknownst to the students, they thought they were all going to get the same thing. One group was given a set of words to unscramble and make a new word, an anagram. The words were whirl, slapstick, and cinerama. And the second group were given 3 words, melon, bat, I think, and cinerama. And what happened was whirl and slapstick do not have another version of the word. So by the time it came to get to the 3rd word, though that group had given up. They had completely given up after words 1 and 2 couldn't be unscrambled. And the second group got the first 2 correctly, and then they got the 3rd one correctly. If you were in the group and you're stuck on whirl or slapstick, you're watching the hands of half the other students go up, wondering why they're unscrambling the words, because they thought they were all having the same test. And so they had given up by the time it got to word 3. And this was used to illustrate a concept called learned helplessness, which is, I can't do this, I give up. And so something I've seen time and time again with my client base is there's a fear. A real fear that you're on the edge of catastrophe, that you're one decision away from messing up. And that's why you have to shift away, because if you are on the edge of catastrophe, that's going to eventually feel too much for you, and it's going to confirm itself in reality. You cannot fail eating, you cannot fail food. Eating exists on a spectrum. And so rather than see it as some good, bad, on, off tightrope to walk, you have to make it a sturdy spectrum in which, yeah, some days it won't be as excellent as others, and that is okay. It is very unspectacular to tell somebody that walking is good for health, meal structure is really good for you, nourishment, closing the kitchen between meals. These are the things that truly work. And then if you do have something lovely, don't catastrophize. Because if you feel you shouldn't eat a food and then you eat that food, it's going to take on a new meaning about self-worth and failure. Try and calm the mind and realize that you're in control. And that when that voice comes in that you've messed up, you step back and go, aha, I recognize that voice. I'm not buying it. And the third one ties in, which is self-compassion. I've said in the book, and I'll say it here again, shame and love fight for the same space within us. The key characteristic of shame is that it keeps us repeating the behaviors we're embarrassed about. Whereas the key characteristic of compassion is that it heals the mind of additional stress. Mistakes are normal. Misjudgments are normal. Having a crappy meal that's above calories or that's really high fat or not, whatever, overeating. These are normal behaviors. It's not about the behavior. It's about what you do next. And self-compassion is about choosing the right step next. And that's where so many people go wrong. It becomes the self-fulfilling prophecy of, I've screwed up, what's the point? And then you treat yourself like the failure you think you are. Self-criticism can trigger this sense of danger. And so you will look for safety. And that might involve stricter diets, stricter routines. But these backfire. You want to signal a different kind of safety. I'm okay. I know how to soothe myself, and practice it until it truly becomes your actual safety. That you have ways to ground yourself and calm yourself and soothe yourself without needing food. It really is a skill to pause and check in with yourself and say, what do I need now? Every act of compassion you choose says, I'm someone who can recover from setbacks. I'm someone who can take intentional steps forward, even when it's uncomfortable. It's not, if I'm hard enough on myself, I'll change. It's, there's nothing wrong with me to begin with. Now, how do I take the next step?